Master the 16 Amazon Leadership Principles in 2025. There's something magnetic about Amazon's culture, a force that draws ambitious people who want to build, to lead, to stretch the limits of what's possible. But beneath the surface of innovation and scale lies something more structured, almost sacred, a framework of 16 guiding values known as the Amazon Leadership Principles. These principles aren't slogans on a wall or words buried in an employee handbook. They are a living, breathing philosophy, a playbook that governs how Amazon thinks, hires, builds, and decides. Every question in an interview, every promotion, every new product proposal, and even every mistake is weighed against these 16 pillars. If you're preparing for an Amazon interview, you're not just preparing for a conversation. You're preparing to step into a culture that measures leadership differently. A culture that doesn't just ask, can you do the job? But rather, do you think like we do? And that question, as simple as it sounds, is where your real preparation begins. The origins of the code. The Amazon leadership principles were born from a question Jeff Bezos asked himself when the company was still operating out of a garage. How do you scale judgment? When you grow fast, you can't make every decision yourself. You need a shared compass, a code of conduct that ensures thousands of employees can make the right choices even when no one's watching. That compass became 16 principles, clear, deliberate, and uncompromising. They defined what great leadership looks like inside Amazon, but they also became a test for anyone wanting to join it. Each principle acts as both a mirror and a measure. A mirror because it reflects your natural instincts, how you think, how you lead, how you solve problems. A measure because it defines the standard Amazon expects from its best. And in an Amazon interview, those principles become the invisible script running beneath every question. When they ask, tell me about a time you faced a challenge, they're really asking, did you take ownership? Did you dive deep? Did you deliver results? When they ask, describe a time you disagreed with your team, what they're looking for isn't just conflict resolution. They're listening for backbone, for courage balanced by respect. The unspoken truth about the leadership principles is that they aren't 16 separate ideas. They are 16 doors leading to one place: how you think when things get difficult. The heartbeat of Amazon, customer obsession. If there's a single thread running through all 16 principles, it's this one: customer obsession. Amazon's philosophy begins and ends with the customer. It's why Jeff Bezos left an empty chair in meetings, to remind every decision maker that the customer is always in the room. Leaders start with the customer and work backward. That's not just a quote, it's a law. Every product idea, process change, or business decision begins by asking, how will this improve the customer experience? At Amazon, the customer is not a transaction, they are the mission. Every team from retail to AWS to operations is expected to act as a guardian of that relationship. And this mindset isn't optional. In an interview, if your stories don't connect back to the customer, even indirectly, you're missing the foundation of Amazon leadership. So, before you start preparing your examples, pause and reflect. When have you fought for your customer, even when it was inconvenient? When have you made a decision that wasn't popular but was right for them? Those are the stories Amazon listens for, and because customer obsession isn't something you memorize, it's something you live. Traits Amazon values most. Now that you understand the foundation, let's talk about what Amazon values in its leaders. It's not about titles, degrees, or flawless resumes. It's about traits, the habits of thinking and acting that reveal true leadership under pressure. Here are the traits Amazon looks for, the DNA of a successful candidate. Courage to tackle difficult situations head-on. Leaders don't shy away from conflict or ambiguity. They confront it calmly and decisively. A deep obsession with the customer. Every decision, even internal ones, must create a better outcome for the end user. Willingness to admit mistakes. Amazon prizes self-awareness. Failure isn't the enemy, denial is. Preference for no answer over a weak one. If you don't have a solid data point, don't improvise, investigate. Ability to tell stories that come full circle. Amazon leaders tie actions to results, not effort to intention. You'll notice something missing here. There's no mention of being perfect. Amazon doesn't want flawless people, it wants reflective ones. People who can own their decisions, learn fast, and lead better next time. Pitfalls to avoid. For every trait Amazon admires, there's a pitfall that can instantly lower your bar. Many strong candidates lose momentum in their interviews not because of lack of skill, but because of how they tell their stories. Avoid these common traps, getting lost in unproductive conflict. Don't turn your answer into a drama about who was right. Show how you resolved tension and drove outcomes. Skipping metrics. Without measurable impact, your stories lose weight. Numbers don't just prove success, they make your story tangible. Failing to highlight individual contributions. Amazon values collaboration, but it also wants to know what you did. Referencing principles by name. Saying, this shows ownership doesn't help. Demonstrating ownership through your choices does. Misinterpreting principles like disagree and commit. It's not about arguing. It's about standing firm, then supporting the team once the decision is made. Remember, in every behavioral question, you are being evaluated on both substance and style. What you did and how you think about what you did. The 16 principles in action. Let's bring these principles to life not as bullet points, but as behaviors. Each one represents a lens through which Amazon views leadership. As you study them, imagine how your own experiences align with each mindset. 1. A customer obsession. Leaders start with the customer and work backward. They build trust, they listen, and they act. The customer's voice is present in every decision. 2. Ownership. Leaders are owners. They think long-term, beyond their team or project. They never say, that's not my job. They step up, they fix problems, and they protect the mission. 3. Invent and simplify. Leaders seek innovation not for glory but for progress. They break old systems, simplify complexity, and make things better for the people they serve. 4. Are right a lot. Leaders aren't just smart, they're wise. They seek diverse perspectives, challenge their own assumptions, and make better decisions through humility. 5. Learn and be curious. Leaders are students for life. They explore the unknown, ask better questions, and stay hungry for improvement. Curiosity fuels evolution. 6. Hire and develop the best. Leaders raise the bar. They don't just hire talent, they grow it. They recognize potential, mentor relentlessly, and build future leaders. 7. Insist on the highest standards. Leaders don't compromise on quality. They fix problems so they stay fixed. They see excellence not as achievement, but as responsibility. 8. Think big. Leaders dream boldly. They challenge constraints, imagine new horizons, and create ideas that inspire. Thinking small is the one mistake they never make. 9. Bias for action. Leaders move fast. They understand that speed is a strategy and that calculated risks are often better than safe delays. 10. Frugality. Leaders accomplish more with less. Constraints don't limit them, they spark creativity. Efficiency is their silent strength. 11. Earn trust. Leaders listen before they speak. They act with honesty, humility, and consistency. They own mistakes and credit others. 12. Dive deep. Leaders don't skim the surface. They analyze data, verify facts, and stay connected to details. No task is beneath them. 13. Have backbone, disagree, and commit. Leaders voice their perspective even when it's uncomfortable, but once a decision is made, they give it their full support. 14. Deliver results. Leaders focus on what matters most. Despite setbacks, they meet goals and deliver quality outcomes. Intentions don't count, results do. 15. Strive to be Earth's best employer. Leaders create environments where people grow, thrive, and belong. They lead with empathy and invest in well-being. 16. Success and scale. Bring broad responsibility. Leaders act with global awareness. They measure success not only by profit, but by the positive impact they leave behind. These 16 principles are not separate roads. They're threads of one fabric. When woven together, they form the foundation of Amazon's leadership identity. The common thread. Customer obsession as the core principle. After years of coaching Amazon candidates, one truth stands out. Every principle eventually points back to the customer. Ownership? It's about taking responsibility for customer outcomes. Innovation? About finding better ways to serve them. High standards? About ensuring they never settle for less. Customer obsession is not just the first principle, it's the gravitational center of them all. In your interview, when you don't know which principle a question is targeting, focus on the customer. Frame your answers around their experience, their pain points, and the impact your decisions had on them. That's your compass. That's your advantage. Because at Amazon, leadership isn't just about guiding teams, and it's about championing the customer with every action you take. As we close this first part of your journey, take a step back and reflect. The leadership principles aren't a test of memory, they're a test of alignment, a measure of how instinctively your decisions echo Amazon's core values. If you can internalize these 16 ideas not as corporate doctrine, but as leadership instincts, you'll start to see the interview differently. Every question becomes a mirror, every answer a reflection of who you are when it matters most. This is the mindset that sets Amazon leaders apart. They don't recite the principles, they embody them.